You know that feeling when you order new parts and the parcel has finally arrived? Well, this was me just a few days ago, really happy unboxing a parcel with the missing parts for the BMW R60/5 engine rebuild. I was in need of new rocker arm parts because the old ones were heavily worn, and that's another reason why I opted for brand new parts from Germany. If you're not familiar with the rocker arm assembly, this is actually what opens and closes your valve on any BMW airhead engine. But there's also one more thing I ordered in this box, and that is a ring and pinion gear set for the BMW R60/5 final drive. I will be rebuilding this very soon, and if you guys don't want to miss out on that video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Whenever I order parts from abroad, I make sure to double check the parts list and the parts that I received within the parcel. This will ensure me that I received all the parts from the supplier and that they didn't do anything wrong. Another thing I like to do is just grab every part that I received and make sure that the quality is on point, especially if they are internal engine parts. So on this table, you'll see the components that make up the rocker arm assembly. This here is the rocker arm itself. This is the rocker arm shaft. And this is the rocker arm bushing. So it looks like I received everything within this order. Now the next thing I like to do is a dry assembly. What that means is I just take some of these components to make sure everything slides on or works the way it should before I mount it onto the engine. So the bushing actually goes onto the shaft. I'm gonna slide it on and it's not sliding on for some reason, okay? I'm gonna go to the other side and it doesn't slide onto this either. I'm pushing a little bit onto that, but the bushing should be free, as you can tell. It doesn't want to go on that shaft, so we have an issue right here. Now I'm going to grab another shaft that's in the next one. I'm going to try the same thing. That doesn't go on either, and that doesn't go on either. So it looks like we have a big issue here because I can take any bushing and any shaft and I'll try and slide it on and it does not want to go on any side. I'll flip it around, it does not want to go on, and it does not want to go on. Doesn't matter which combination I try, it just doesn't want to work. So I'm going to get my measuring tools and measure the shafts and the bushings to figure out what the issue is. After taking a quick measurement with my 0 to 1 inch outside micrometer, something didn't add up. According to the service manual, the largest size is allowed to be 0.5712. What I read on this micrometer was 0.5738. That's more than 2/1000ths of an inch larger in diameter. But not only is it 2/1000ths of an inch larger on both ends of the shaft, but it is smaller in the middle. My first thought was this micrometer might just be out of adjustment, but then I grabbed this bigger micrometer and this read the exact same number like this little one did. So I have two numbers that are identical. Then I grabbed a third outside micrometer. This is basically a shop micrometer, and this surprisingly read the exact same number. These other two more precise micrometers read as well. While measuring these parts, I also took temperature into consideration. As you can tell, everything is around 18 degrees, 17.7. This is degrees Celsius, just so you know. So the parts are 17 and the micrometers are the exact same temperature, so there shouldn't be any deviation on any of these parts while measuring. After measuring the first part, I figured out it was not within spec, so I went ahead to measure the other three rocker arm shafts. After measuring the rocker arm shafts, I figured out they are no good. Now, let's figure out how bad the rocker arm bushings are. So if we have a look at the outside diameter of this bushing, you will notice the condition is pretty nice and I could live with that finish. But that changes when we look at the inside. You will notice there are some deep scratches and the machined surface is really ugly. To me, this is a lousy finish and this is not acceptable, especially if we flip it around. You will notice those deep grooves in this bushing. This is supposed to be a brand new bushing, and for some reason it looks like that on the inside. So in the middle of the screen I have two bushings. The one on the left is the brand new part and the one on the right is a bushing from a different engine. This is actually a used bushing, but I replaced it because it was oval and that was also worn or out of spec. Now if I give you guys a close-up view, you can still see the surface finish of the used one on the right is still nicer than the brand new part I received. Let me know down below in the comment section which surface finish you would prefer if you would receive new parts. In my opinion, this surface finish is not adequate for a bushing, so it should not have passed QC. and it should not have left the factory wherever it came from. But without looking at the surface finish, let's have a look at the measurements of this bushing and see how it compares to the factory specifications. To measure the inside diameter of this bushing, I'm going to grab an expandable bore gauge. This one expands on both sides, as you can see, and the more expensive version I have on the right expands only on one side, but I will use both just to confirm that the sizes are correct. Once I have the measurement from the inside diameter, I will compare that to the outside micrometer in order to have my reading. After measuring all of these rocker arm assembly parts, I came to the conclusion that none of these parts are according to the factory specifications. This means I will not be able to install them into the engine, and that means the engine rebuild is delayed once again. I also found some poor craftsmanship on the rocker arms themselves, and I'll give you guys a close-up shot right now. I'll show you guys a good example of a rocker arm. You will notice the surface that touches up against the valve stem should have a nice radius, and it should be nice and smooth. You'll have two flat surfaces on either side for spacers, and you'll also have the inside diameter, which is machined very smoothly for the bushings. On the other side, we also have an adjustment screw, and this will allow us to adjust the valve lash, but this will go up against the push rod. Now, if you look at this closely, you will see a nice radius. So I'll take my R6 radius gauge and put that up against that radius, and you'll see fits very nicely, and there's basically no light that comes through. But this is really only a good one compared to these three. I'll take this one and compare it side by side, a good one compared to a bad one. I'm not exactly sure which one you would choose, but I prefer the left one compared to the right one. This is a brand new part, and these two are as well. So in total, 4 new parts, and 3 look like this. We have some low spots, and the surface itself is ground very poorly, which I would say is poor craftsmanship, but also the radius looks completely different. This one even seems to have a flat spot on it. So if I take my radius gauge towards the right, it seems to be flat. It doesn't have a radius. So this is pretty poor in my opinion. And then these two on the right are basically the exact same thing. It looks like somebody ground these by hand somehow, even though they should be new parts. I just shared with you guys all rocker arms, and 3 of them have very poor surface finishes. 1 of them could actually be installed or used for the assembly process. So I'm going to have to see what I'll do with these parts, because 90 to 95% of these parts are actually no good or not according to the service manual specifications. And these parts were not cheap. In total, I have $700 in parts right here on this table, and there are only 12 small parts on this table. So very expensive, and I want to find a solution. I have since reached out to the supplier, and this is basically the reply I received from that supplier. Not very positive, not very uplifting, and not very helpful. So I will have to see what my follow-up email will look like. It will have to improve because I want to find a solution to this problem. If I have any updates on this topic, I'll share them with you guys in the community tab on YouTube. I really wanted to make a separate video about this topic because it just goes to show that some parts that you order online aren't always the best, and that quality is not always delivered to your doorstep. So it might be a good thing to invest in some measuring instruments so that when you go and rebuild an engine, that you also have the correct components installed into your engine. I haven't read much about this topic online, that people have had issues with parts in general from different suppliers around the world for BMW airheads, but I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Have you received parts that haven't met your expectations or that haven't actually fit your motorcycle? Please feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section so other people can read what issues you ran into. In the meantime, I will be focusing on some other sub-assemblies as I deal with this rocker arm issue. The sub-assemblies that I want to focus on are the wheel hubs. I want to install brand new bearings, and that will be a topic for itself. And then I'll also focus on the final drive because I just received a brand new ring and pinion gear set. I also received brand new bearings for the final drive, and I already have seals and gaskets that have been sitting in the shop for a very long time, so I want to put that together very soon and share a full-on rebuild video with you guys. If you are subscribed to this channel, you'll probably see that video here very soon, and if you haven't already, please do that down below. Just hit that subscribe button. It helps this channel grow, but it also helps me work on bigger projects and even some more projects. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please smash that like button down below. It just helps this video reach more people, and that also is another way to make this channel grow a little bit. So I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.